Generic greetings and welcome to a summary of gaming for 2016 and the last video of this year, maybe even ever. You never know, the Millennium Bug might have been waiting in a deep dark corner of the internet ready to pounce because it's a Maverick and it's been a little bit delayed, or maybe Trump will start a nuclear war, we just don't know. Either way, I normally do the generic awards ceremony, but I realised that was just becoming a list video and I thought, you know what, just ditch the format and just do a list video, which is what this is. It's about 25 games, I believe, talk about it quickly and then move on and just I guess do a bit of a retrospective on last year of gaming for myself and the channel, and also bring to light some of the games that I think you might want to check out. So, without further ado, The Witness is a game that made me feel stupider than normal, and also something I didn't complete for that very reason. It's essentially a mix between a line-drawing puzzle game and Myst. You wander around this very pretty island and complete puzzles. It's quite pretentious in places, but it's also very, very good. Space Run Galaxy is one of the best tower defense games I have played this year. Really interesting, good game, but something I haven't put a lot of time in for unknown reasons. I don't know why, it just didn't click and really drag me in like the first one did. Maybe because it was pretty much like the first one, just with more features, which is fine because that's a lot of the time what people want. It does have some multiplayer features and some grindy elements, which some people might not be happy about, but either way, it's alright. Replica was a game I picked up solely on the idea, and the concept of the game is essentially you're hacking someone's phone and discovering just how much information is on one mobile phone, and there's also some dark elements in there where you have to either implicate him in a certain crime and you're getting forced to do something because of reasons that I don't want to spoil it too much, but on the sole idea alone, you should probably give it a go. It's quite cheap. As I said, the idea is you hack someone's phone and you go through the analogs of like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing to find out information and such. Airships Conquer the Skies is a game I have to feature simply because I've played so much of it this year and kept coming back to it. There's a lot of games that I'll binge for maybe a week or two, or some games that I'll slow burn throughout the year. Airships, I'll come to it, play a bit of it, leave it, wait for another update, do the same again, make interesting designs. It awards creativity and is really good fun, and just something that I don't know, it has a hook that I keep coming back to it. Like, it doesn't punish you for being crap at it, and rewards you for trying interesting things, which I think is always good. Event Zero is one of the best games I've played this year, solely for the experience of actually going around to different computer consoles and asking questions and typing things into the console and having it reply back to you with this weird sort of sentience, and you will befriend it or have this love-hate relationship, or maybe it tries to kill you, or maybe all three throughout the game. I don't think it truly gels well with the rest of the game, like exploring the spaceship. I think you could have probably split both games apart because, like, I don't know, there's something about it where you're asking these questions with the AI and then like hacking and going around it. Like, it does work in places, but it also falls out in others. But it is a good game. It is quite a good game. Quite short, which is, I think, the main issue that people may have with it. It's like 3.5, 4 hours for a completion and quite expensive. So some people will call it overpriced. I don't know. I can't really put monetary value on the entertainment factor and for the experience. But either way, just for the experience of talking to the computer and typing it, and just for how different it is, it's probably worth your attention. Prison Architect. I can't really do one of these lists without putting this game on here. We've seen the 2.0 update, I believe, and also just recently another one just before Christmas as well, which brought in a really big feature, which is like guard needs and stuff like that. Again, it's the game that just won't quit. Like, they just don't know when to stop with it, and that's fine because I don't think I've seen really any game outside of MMOs that you generally pay for, obviously, that's had such good post-release support. I don't even think it classes post-release because I don't think it's ever going to be officially released and done. I think we'll see updates until we actually do see the bombs drop. Pokemon Go, never featured on the channel because it's a mobile game and a fairly terrible one at that, but it is a game that I was sucked into for probably a month. I remember, people going on about it, and, I played a lot of the old Pokemon games. Pretty much, I played Red, Blue, Yellow, I think I played Green, that someone got a dodgy copy when he was in Turkey one time, and Black and White. So I played some of the Pokemon games, thought Pokemon Go might be an interesting game, played it, thought it was a terrible game, but as an experience and walking around and actually just doing it, it was alright. It wasn't too bad. I mean, to be fair, you could sit in your local supermarket and catch more Pokemon than actually doing a 10-mile hike around some mountain because of the way the game works, but because of its impact, I had to feature it. Like, because of the impact it's had on people, even just for that small, tiny time, where nobody really cares about it now, as far as I'm aware, I had to feature it. The Daily Chthonicle is so niche that I think hipsters would probably walk away from it and say, oh yeah, I think I'm going to go and play something a little bit more mainstream. It's weird. It's you running a newspaper, specifically a supernatural newspaper agency, in a weird Cthulhuian, Lovecraftian world, and you investigate the occult and goings-on. And the term indie really has lost its meaning over the years, but this sort of brings it back. Like, indie game, yeah, it's this thing. It's almost so niche that it's unplayable, but for that reason, like, it's special. Transport Fever, I quite like the game. I also hate it at the same time. It's simultaneously infuriating and very fun. Not just because of some of the design choices, but also just comes with weird bugs and stuff. But it's one of those things that you play it, and I'm complaining while I'm playing it, going, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. But then I realise I'm 10 hours in. So it's obviously not that bad, is it? It's got so many chunky bits and bits that I don't like, but then it looks nice, and you can build train networks and bus routes and airplanes and ships and watch all of this simulation go, and yeah, it's alright. It's not bad. Deadbolt, this game. It's weird, right? It's weird. It's about you as maybe a dead thing. I don't really know. You're like a Grim Reaper type character who gets orders from the fireplace to go and kill gangbanging zombies and the undead, and they're on drugs, which is actually a diced up skeleton, I think, and there's vampires, and you can turn into smoke, and it's just play it. Quadrilateral Cowboy is essentially a heist simulator. You will use like virtual terminals to plan different heists for people, and it's got lots of different mechanics that really, every mission seems to introduce a new mechanic, and then you only really use them all together, I think, once, and then the game ends. Which is a shame, because I would have expected it being a little bit more. It's a fun game. It's different. It is packed full of interesting ideas and such, and you have this like weird hacking terminal where you type in your commands and stuff, and then you can also play one where you've got like a robot that goes around and you connect up to different sockets and turn on or off different things. You've all got a briefcase gun. You've got a ability you can control 3 characters at once. It's yeah, it's full of a lot of things, and just that link's in the description, so just, give it a go, World of Tanks is a game I have to shout out simply because it's held my attention for so long. I've played it since the open beta, so over 5 years now, I guess, and have over 15,000 battles in it, several tanks. It's a free-to-play MMO, 15v15 with different tank classes. A lot of people get surprised when they hear me talk about this, because obviously I'm known for a lot of construction stuff and building games and tycoon games and such, but it's simply because I'm a war gamer. I've been playing war games for most of my life. I play a lot of board games as well, but it's because of that reason, because I know a lot of people who are very interested in tanks and the historical side of it, although it isn't a historical game. It's more of an arcadey type thing. That's how I got into it originally, but I've played it for this long, and I really enjoy it until I get really pissed off and then rage quit for a couple of weeks and then come back, because it's abusive that way. Project Highrise. Did you ever want a sequel to Sim Tower? Well, actually, I believe there was one called Ute Tower, but did you want a proper, modern, up-to-date Sim Tower sequel? Well, you're not really going to find it here. It shares some of the ideas, but it just doesn't really go together as well. Like, you really just build taller, more of it. That's it. There's no real creativity involved. I mean, you can do things in certain ways to increase your effectiveness, but honestly, you can just slap a tower together and just make it really tall, and then that's it done. Like, it just doesn't give you much freedom in that sense, but I do enjoy it. I have played it. For the aesthetic alone, I think it's worth checking out, because it does look like the opening sequence for Mad Men, which I think was their original intention anyway. But really, we haven't got anything else like it, so, it fills that gap, I guess. Architect is a game that is slightly overlooked, I think. I've only featured it once on the channel myself, so who am I to really say anything about that? It's something that I've played probably 10 or 12 hours of now, I think. It's essentially a modern take on Roller Coaster Tycoon. Obviously, you've got things like Planet Coaster, which is about placing every individual rock, tree, and leaf, whereas this is more stylized, very minimalistic, and allows you to build something that looks very nice. Well, to be fair, it's isometric, so you can't really fail to make that look good. But it's a game that if you wanted like a modern theme Roller Coaster Tycoon, then you can't really go far wrong with this. But it's also bringing in new ideas as well. It's not just resting on the laurels of other games. It's going, right, this is our start point, let's go from there, which is, what you want. Redcon is a game that is essentially I guess you could call it an artillery game or a fortress fighting game. You have a fortress, they have a fortress, you have to build your fortress with different fortressy things like guns, towers, defenses, shields, weapons, whatever, and you have to fight the other person's fort, and whoever has the best fort wins. You control little characters that go around, and it's quite fun. I played it on mobile first, I believe, probably one of the few games I actually played on mobile this year. I haven't done a lot of mobile gaming. But it came to Steam, and I thought, it's going to be a fairly crappy port, but it's not. It works, it's fun, and I would recommend it. Rainbow Six Siege. No other game can make me tense up more than this game. Playing multiplayer is an exercise in frustration, annoyance, excitement, moments of pure terror as you're sort of hiding behind a barrel, watching someone sneak up, and he's got a mate covering him, and then it all kicks off, and it's great. It's just a great game. It's something I wish I was better at. I really, really wish I was better at, because I might get sledged, in fact, by someone called Sledge sometimes, and I sort of really get annoyed at it. But then I play another round, and I do quite well. And I'm happy, because I've just shot a terrorist in the face, and that's what we all want out of a game, don't we? Speaking of infuriating situations, Tharsis is a game where you roll dice and eat your own crew members. It's something that I really like and also simultaneously hate at the same time. It's very RNG based. It's very random at times. Sometimes it will just kick you in the face. Sometimes it will just, hold your hand and get you to the end of the mission. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I play this game pretty much year on year, every year, and love the game. Think it's fantastic, really invokes the world, and is just a decent RPG. And also now you have to reinstall it, because that's the joke. Istrolid. It's a free-to-play game about making spaceships and then fighting other spaceships in space, obviously. It's like Lego spaceship fighting, and it's free. So, do you want that? Because you can have it. Firewatch is a walking simulator. In fact, I think it's the best of the walking simulators, certainly the best I have played. I do enjoy these games quite a bit. The idea is you experience a story through either the environment around you, and you have to explore and such, and trying to find something out and uncover the story that way, or you have different characters in there. This is a bit of both. You've got, obviously an area to explore and walk around, and you speak to the other main character through the radio. You never actually meet them, and the voice acting's great in it. It looks good. It's got an interesting plot which sort of wavers around. It's funny at times. It is fairly grim at times and emotional, and in the space of maybe a couple of minutes as well. It's very good. It's bloody good. Superhot. Super hot. Super hot. Super hot. Time moves when you do, and super hot. And you shoot people in the face and in the chest, and chop them in half. And time only moves when you do. And super hot. And I've never featured on the channel for unknown reasons, but super hot. And super hot. And someone might actually get this reference, but super hot. Factorio! I did a full series on the game when it came to Steam, and obviously I've featured it several times before. It's amazing. It shouldn't be as good as it is, because it's essentially a game about managing a factory and building production lines and stuff, which you actually think, that sounds really boring, but then you play it and then you end up losing a weekend to it, which is, again, why I've featured it now, and I'm really, really tempted to play it, but then I would end up losing even more time, which I just don't have. Planet Coaster. How on earth have they pulled it off? I still don't know. It's amazing looking. It's a good simulation. It's fun. It's something that is really unsurpassed. I don't think anything comes even close to getting to do what Planet Coaster's done. Having everything going on, all of this crowd simulation, all of the unlocks, all of the campaign stuff, the free play modes, the Steam Workshop stuff, making individual buildings and managing the terrain and using water features and spending 45 minutes lighting a little walkway is something that most of the games wouldn't be able to pull off, because it would end up being really, really tedious and boring, which it can get at times, admittedly, and also just wouldn't look or run as good as it does. So, yeah, it's great. It's great. Fractured Space is a MOBA, which I like. Yeah, for that reason alone, I've put it on this list. It's enjoyable. It's free to play, so you can check it out yourself. It's about big spaceships with big guns. Some of them are smaller than others that can cloak or go fast or use different abilities, and I enjoy it. I played it online and have done okay. I think my actual rating is about 800 and odd, so it's actually fairly poor, I'm guessing, compared to others. But I play a lot of co-op as well, and the AI, as of late especially, is really bloody difficult. But I really like it. And finally, the last game on this list, Stellaris. If any game could be called my game of the year, it has to be this, and I know that sounds like, whoa, that's a really, really, really big endorsement for Stellaris. Well, yeah, sort of, but also, last year, Fallout 4, like, there was no competition. This year, there's so many games that could have been, like, my game of the year that I really can't call one. It's like they're all too close. Stellaris sort of comes close to it because there's very few games that I've put this much time into in such a small amount of space and played single player and multiplayer, and I like the idea of making these like little small factions and then them going into space and exploring space and how like deep it can be and all of the encounters, and then how the scope of it down to each individual amoeba on a planet that you can actually encounter, like pre-sentient like little animals or whatever, up to huge spacefaring alien invaders. Like, it's got all of that in there, and all of the intrigue and all the political stuff and all the fighting. It's so broken in so many ways. Like, it should be improved in many places. Like, there's no espionage, the combat's just essentially put the fights in there and watch it go. The faction management is chunky at best, but I really like it. I really do enjoy it, which is something I shouldn't actually, because it's a Paradox Grand strategy. So how on earth I've got suckered into that, I really don't know. Anyway, that is the summary of gaming for 2016. Obviously, I've only featured things on this list that I've actually played, so things like Doom and Dishonored, I haven't played, so I can't really comment on them, even though people say they're pretty good. Overwatch, a lot of people are calling that their game of the year, and that's fantastic. I thought it was okay, but I didn't really get into it. It was alright, but, you know, not really my thing. But looking forward to 2017, see what actual interesting titles we're going to get. Hope you have a good and happy new year and all of that. I'm going to do some changes for the new year, which I've outlined on my Patreon page, free viewable by all, by the way, and also on my Twitter, so check them out. Either way, hope you enjoyed the video. Happy New Year, take care of yourselves, and generic partings.